to tell me that the devil is going to torture and burn my soul if I disobey the same God he disobeyed? Somebody lying. Somebody is lying. Bruh.
The fact that people believe that that's what actually is going to happen is one of the reasons why I had to walk away from Christianity. Because when I was younger, I used to ask that question quite often. If the devil was the one who disobeyed God, and then his reward is that he gets to be the Lord over hell and torment people in hell, then that just doesn't seem right, doesn't stand too well with me. And it didn't for a number of reasons. Now, I'm going to tell you the truth of what your Bible says towards the end of this video. Now, I guarantee that there are going to be those who are going to write in the comments and they're going to say that that's not what it means, that it means this or that. But they're not going to listen to what I say, and they're going to write down exactly what I'm going to say, which proves that many of the commenters don't listen to the freaking video before they start commenting. But anyway, back to the story at hand. So according to the little cartoon there, the same devil that disobeyed God now gets the rulership over hell and gets to torment me for disobeying this God as well. So he gets a good job where he gets to torment people. And this devil already knows that this is going to be the way things are going. I used to ask the question all the time about that. And then many people would say statements like, well, the devil already knows what the process is going to be. The devil already knows he's going to lose at the Battle of Armageddon. He's already made his grave, his place in the universe. And so I used to, and I would say back then that, well, that would mean that the God and the devil are in partnership with how the cosmos and the universe is going to work. That it is not one against the other. It is not the adversary, because it is this unity that they have. And then as I got older, I started thinking about the fact of the story of Job, that the adversary, which I thought then was the devil, which it is not the devil. I thought the adversary, since he had the ability to go up to heaven and being on earth, going to heaven, being on earth, and could only do things that he got permission from this God to be able to do, that they certainly had to be in cahoots with each other in order for this revelations, the end of times, to be facilitated. And of course, I got admonished for that, because how can the devil and God be one in unity, working together? And I was always told that God cannot be where there is sin, but yet the devil, the adversary, is constantly going up into heaven. So that just seemed like it was a problem. There was a problem there, until I come to realize that the adversary is not the devil. Two different thought processes, two different things. But in and around the 3rd, 4th, 5th century, they were commingled together, that the serpent, the adversary, the devil, Lucifer, all became one being, into which they were not. And each one is distinctively different. We're not going to cover those here, but we've covered them before, But so we're sticking with just the devil here, and the adversary. So I realized later on, as I moved further and further away from Christianity, that the adversary and the devil were two separate beings, so they could not be in cahoots together. So then the only way for me to understand this was then to start looking into the Gospels. And then in the Gospels, in Luke, it talks about how the devil is moving from heaven to earth and under the sea and so on and so forth. I think that's in Luke 10. And that this was a different entity in itself, and more relatable to Job in a sense, but also relatable to what John the Revelator wrote as far as the Antichrist and the coming of an Antichrist and the beast and so on. And then I realized that the Antichrist and the beast weren't the same thing, that those were two different things as well. But that the devil, this devil who fights against this God at this Jesus at the Battle of Armageddon, was also a different being that still was roaming the earth, knew that it was going to roam it for a little while, and then, knowing it was going to go into a battle, continue to go into this battle and lose. Now, many people then said that, well, the reason why the devil is going along with the plan is because he wants to take as many souls as he possibly can with him into this lake of fire. Until I started reading Revelations and realizing that in Revelations, the only person that said it would throw into the lake of fire would be the Antichrist and the beast, and that the Antichrist and the beast are the ones that are going to be tormented forever. So that clued me in to the fact that the beast and the Antichrist are going to be tormented and not the tormentors, that whatever demonic forces they have within will be tormented and not be the tormentors. So where did this idea for people going into hell and being tormented by the devil and his demons come from? Well, it came from later literary works. One literary work was Dante's Inferno, or Dante's Divine Comedy, in which you have Dante's Inferno, the different levels of heaven, different levels of hell, the pitchfork and the long tails. All of those imageries come from Dante's Divine Comedy, and this idea of the devil buying your soul, the devil tormenting you in hell and trying to get you to go to hell. All these things come from Dante's Divine Comedy. They do not come from your Bible at all. All these ideas that you're going to be thrown into this lake of fire comes from that. In most situations, people, the ancient Jews believe you went into annihilation if you did not go. Everybody went into Sheol, which is the grave, but then some would go and be with this God, while others just go into annihilation. You just cease to exist. And then later on, even the Jews around the first, second century changed that to have a kind of hellscape because they have become Hellenized and then Romanized. And then the Christians continued that thought process and created hell later on and around that 4th, 5th century in order to scare the shit out of people, basically to scare people into following this pathway, because from their Roman understanding, they had taken on the Greek idea of Hades as a place where the people who could not make it to be with the gods would go, and they pay. If you couldn't pay the boatman, then you were tormented. If you could pay the boatman, you got to go live in somewhat of a paradise, which is also something that the Greeks combined with their understanding of the Book of the Dead and what happens when your heart is measured against a feather from their Kemetic knowledge. So you had this infused into the Christian thought process, and a hell was created because Jesus talked about Gethsemane, which is a valley, Gehenna, which is a valley where trash is thrown. And then the only Tartarus is what Paul was talking about, which is the Hades, to which from the Roman Greek understanding came from. But it was Dante's ideas that pushed this whole idea of people being tormented by this devil in some kind of hell, and the devil is in charge as if he is the king of hell. It was later then additionally pushed, I believe in the 18 or 1900s, by the writings of Paradise Lost, and Paradise Lost continued to further this idea of people being tormented in hell. So at the end of the day, there is nothing in your Bible that is going to suggest that people will be tormented in hell and that the devil will be in charge of your torment with all of his demons. That is a place that they are thrown into the lake of fire, the Antichrist and the beast, which are different from Satan as well as the serpent or Lucifer. They're not the same. And these things help me to realize how false and fake the Bible is, how it is culturally changed by the dogma and doctrine of men and not by some divine deity, which allowed me to be able to walk away from it. And then understanding the hermetics of where I vibrate in my conscious level determines what happens when I leave this earth. Nobody knows. Nobody has proof. It's based on hypothesis of what we can evaluate and observe in our matter plane of existence. We can observe higher and lower consciousness in our matter, in this plane of existence. So it would stand to reason, based on the law of correspondence, as above, so below as above, that even in our conscious states, there's the possibility of higher conscious states beyond the matter plane, as well as there are lower conscious states below the matter plane. Does it work out that way? Who knows? We'll find out. I'll find out when I leave this existence, and so will you. So y'all have a great day. And always remember, you have to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibration.